Mr. President, Bobby Charles here, and we've had a dialogue before, but I am here to tell you that we are grateful that you went into Minnesota with your team and you found these fraud rings and these fake nonprofits and these foreign influence operations run by the Somali community, and what you, I think aptly, it's what has been called the Somalia First operation. And the irony is, here in the state of Maine, we are facing something similar. I'm here to tell you that our public reporting, never mind some of the early indications from federal inquiries, seems to be that we have a Somalia First operation here, Democrat funded, out there registering voters at the same time that they literally skim hundreds of thousands, maybe millions off our Maine Care system. As you may know, Maine Care is our version of Medicaid. It is a complete outrage because they are taking these monies from taxpayers in the state of Maine and they are using them to put Somali operators, these Somalia First operators, in our state government, both on the administrative side and on the local side and actually in our legislature. So my appeal to you is you have done an extraordinary job in going after this Somalia First operation and network, including monies that are sent abroad by these people that seem to have a higher loyalty to Somalia than they do to the United States, and you've done it in Minnesota. I'm asking you, please, send the Treasury Department's investigators, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, the ICE investigators, and anybody that the federal government has at DOJ or Treasury here to Maine, and in particular, go to Lewiston and help us, and Augusta, and help us unearth this Somalia First operation here in the state that is guilty, almost certainly, of Maine Care fraud with fake nonprofits exactly the way they did it in Minnesota. Please audit every dollar. Please come in and flip this place upside down so that we can get after this fraud and get our state back. So many Mainers, and I mean literally hundreds of thousands, want our state back again. Unfortunately, this Somalia First network is as rife here as in Minnesota. So please, as you have taken extraordinary actions to try to bring public corruption under control and public integrity back in Minnesota, we are in a state right now which is also Democrat controlled and where there is a very strong Somalia First operation. Please help us beat it.
What's going on, everybody? I appreciate you guys pulling up today, man. I hope you are well on this weekend, man. We got to get into it, man. Ilhan Omar and the Somalis, they're in trouble, man. And the biggest problem, honestly, it isn't the president, man. It's not the president. It is the receipt. It is the data. It is the information that is coming out that is exposing these individuals. And it's not just a Minnesota problem. This is happening in Columbus, Ohio. This is happening in Maine. I got a couple clips to get into today. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. This is crazy. This is crazy, but I'm glad that it is being uncovered and spoke about. Hit that like button for me. Let's get into it.
All of this happening purportedly under the nose of Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud, held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz, House Oversight Investigation role in his role as governor, or Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire fraud, theft ring.
Yeah, call it what it is. It's a theft ring. This is crazy. The receipts coming out. I want you guys to see another piece of evidence.
What's that? That's the marriage certificate for Omar to her brother. Who posted it? The White House. Yeah, she's probably not going to be here for a long time. If she's allowed to stay after the White House posted that, there's a bigger problem here in this country. They posted all the details of when he arrived, when they got married, everything. On top of all the fraud that she's allegedly involved in, It looks like they're a lot deeper into that investigation than they're letting us see. But her time is coming, and I'm here for it because we've been having this conversation so long, probably a good close to a decade, if not more.
The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. Slowly but surely, more and more information is starting to leak out. And yeah, the clock is ticking, man. But you know how the federal government does. They wait and wait until they get all of the information, because when they come, they like to come correct, and they don't like to lose. Typically, they don't lose because they've gathered so much data, so much evidence against an individual that typically they just fold and take the plea because the information is just so damning at that point that they can't refute it or do anything about it. But I want you guys to hear from Ilhan Omar. And, you know, she has the nerve to come out of her mouth and say, hey, what's going on in Minnesota? You know, the ICE operations that's going on around the country. I come from a dictatorship and we never experienced this. Come on, lady, stop it.
To be coming out of our country. I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade. It is really shocking, and it should be a wake-up call for all Americans to say this is not the country we were born in. This is not the country we believe in. This is not the country our founding fathers.
Yeah, we're trying to keep all of that stuff from happening, right? This is what we voted for. We voted for the largest deportation action to ever take place in this country. We voted for this. We have an understanding that the previous administration allowed millions upon millions of people to come over here. We also understand that people such as her folks, the Somalis, they are taking full advantage of the country, taking full advantage of the Constitution. And although we don't live in a democracy, these people have studied the Constitution, in my opinion, more than the average American. And they're actually utilizing the Constitution against us. So something has to be done within the realms of the Constitution. And the last time I checked, the president, being the commander in chief, has a responsibility to the actual American citizens to make sure that we're safe, to make sure we have sovereign borders, to make sure that people that shouldn't be here aren't here. That's the responsibility of the federal government. And I don't have a problem with them doing what they're doing. This lady can kick rocks, to be honest with you.
Back end with, you know, the billing claims that were just not accurate, not adding up, times not adding up, unsure that staff actually, you know, performed the job functions in the home of the clients. I made a connection from Gateway to the Minnesota people by, you know, them telling me about their family they had in Minnesota. The executives of Gateway, the Somalian executives, had family that they used to visit in Minnesota. Their family used to visit them from Minnesota. And they used to talk about the agencies they ran out there. It was a similar kind of setup, you know? So there was a connection there between all of them.
Christopher, how long had this been going on? You were at Gateway for quite some time. How long do you think this has been going on, this fraud?
I was there from 2018 to recently 2025. And I hadn't realized about the audit that had been completed in 2018. So before I even got there, they were complicit in some of this stuff. And that was corroborated by the audits that were reported in the Steve Robinson article from the Main Wire. That's what really made me come forward, because I had been reaching out, you know, internally, blowing the whistle since 2024, early 2024, and, you know, I wasn't getting anywhere. So when I saw his reporting in March of 2025, and Gateway was talking about it internally, how it was just some racist reporter, you know, reporting this stuff about them, I just made the connection, and I just, you know, I hadn't known about him or the Main Wire or any of this stuff. So I had my own intuition that led me to find what I found.
And how much? What do you think? What do you think's the extent of the fraud?
Oh man, it could be it could be in the millions. The audit revealed almost $1 million back in 2018 in overbilling, and our programs had grown significantly since then. One of the programs I worked in was an entirely new program, so who knows? Like, it could be in the millions all those years. 7 years I was there, and I didn't see a lot of stuff at first, but during the pandemic, especially the last few years, I've been working remote from Florida. And so I didn't see any of the people. I didn't see any of the staffs in person, none of that stuff. I just saw the massive amount of turnover, new people coming in, a lot of migrant community getting jobs, a lot of new migrant clients, stuff like that. And like a lot of the stuff I just couldn't verify. There was no way for me to verify that what I was billing out was real, was accurate at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's.
Yeah. So this guy right here, is out of Maine. And actually, obviously, he says he lives in Florida, but he was working for the state of Maine. And he's saying that the same type of Medicaid fraud or fraud that was happening out in Minneapolis when it comes to some of the different federal agencies or state funds out there, he's saying the same thing is going on. No audits, no accountability, and just millions upon millions of dollars being snatched and taken. There's a couple of more clips about what's going on in Minnesota, because you guys got to see this, man. Not Minnesota, but Maine. You guys got to see this, man.
Okay, so as long as he brought his birth certificate from Africa, he'll be okay to get his driver's license?
So that is one form of ID that we can accept for the exam process to get him started. The other one needs to bear a signature.
So would you take like a country ID? Because they do kind of similar to
Yeah,
state.
if that's been signed, if there's an immature.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so I looked at it. So as long as he has his birth certificate from his home country in Africa and a driver's license that has a signature from his country, that should be okay?
So we would be able to use that out-of-country ID for the signature piece as long as that birth certificate has been translated. Do you know if it has?
Yes, yeah, he does have his, yeah.
It is translated. Okay,
Yeah.
Then yep.
Awesome.
We could. Yeah.
Okay, so his name's Mohammed. I guess now the next step would be this. He doesn't speak any English. Is the test done in Somalian?
So for the Class C language, we do translate in Somalia. On that form, that application that I was talking about earlier, there's a box on there that says oral. He would just need to check that.
And how many can he get wrong?
So it is a 30-question multiple choice questions. Once he hits 6, the test will automatically shut off.
Okay, so he can only get 5 wrong out of the 30 to be safe.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
No, this is good. That's actually pretty easy. So he has to get 25 right out of the 30. He did have an issue in Somalia with his driving. Is that going to impact it, or do you guys just not connect with it?
We don't have reciprocity from one country to another, so we don't pull a driving record or anything along those lines.
So so if it did lead to an accidental death, when he was driving, he was actually going over a crosswalk and hit a jogger. That's not going to impact the driver's license here, right?
We wouldn't be able to access those records. So again, we don't have reciprocity from one country to another. So we wouldn't be able to pull those records.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I'm going to go down and meet him and get some translators. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Would you like the information for the elections department under the Secretary of State?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just.
Their phone number is 207 624 7650.
Okay. I appreciate the help. This was actually a lot easier than I thought. I was expecting it to be a lot more hurtles, so this makes it a little bit easier. I'll go let Mohammed know.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Wow. I say unbelievable. We just heard it. This is crazy. This is crazy. So you can use a foreign birth certificate, a foreign driver's license, as long as it's quote unquote been translated, and they will just give an individual a license. No questions asked, no check of their driving record, no actual background check on these people at all. They can just, this is crazy. This is crazy.
Maine and Vermont. What in the living hell is going on? Look at that bright green. Really, it's a dark green. foreign-born births plus 10%. What in the hell is going on? Who's having foreign births in Maine and Vermont?
Now on your screen, you see the governoress of Maine, Janet Mills. And some people are starting to accuse Mills of having allowed fraudsters to infiltrate her state, y'all. You see, several years ago, and you're going to see a news clip about this, Maine threw open the doors and said, hey, everybody, come on in. And it looks like maybe some of the same sinister actors that went into Minnesota and stole up to $8 billion from them. It looks like some of those same actors might have wound up in Maine and maybe stole money from them as well.
From now on, yes, a sign will greet all those arriving in our state, and it will say simply, welcome home.
All right, so they opened the doors to everybody who wanted to come on in.
Now, we reached out to officials in Portland, Maine, and received the following response from a city councilor. Portland is proud to be a welcoming city for all Americans and those seeking to become Americans. At the same time, no city of 67,000 people can possibly manage the entire nation's immigration situation on its own. Wow.
They tell you who they are, believe them. Look at this. They openly admit they don't represent America. They can be in our Congress, they can be our mayors, they can be our governors, but they will never represent us because they take another country first. And correct me if I'm mistaken, but when you become an American citizen, because you have to be an American citizen to run for office, don't you have to pledge allegiance to America? If you come on TV and you say, oh, I'm the first Somali mayor in Maine, but I also represent Somalia first, doesn't that violate the oath you took? That should be instant deport. You should see this on TV.
Absolutely. Stop. It should.
Being limp-wristed and say, hey, look, you lied when you became a citizen. But unless you start to actually hold people up to their pledges to the country to become citizens, it means nothing to them.
Policies, how can the politics in Somalia can be, resonate what we have here in the United States, the democracy that we have. How can you help us, be a better country and build back what we used to have back in long time ago?
It doesn't work, but they're just lying to your face.
I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts on this, man? Goodness gracious. Hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on to all so you never miss an upload. As always, keep God first, stay prayed up. We'll catch up with you all next time, man. Please.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.